Have you ever noticed that the more information we consume, the less we can actually think? That while our pockets are full of cutting-edge technology, our minds seem increasingly empty? The truth is more disturbing than you imagine. You're not getting dumber by accident. Think about this for a moment. We live in the information age where any knowledge is just a click away. We have instant access to entire libraries, to the great thinkers of history, to courses on any subject. And yet there has never been a generation so distracted, so fragmented, so incapable of holding a single thought for more than a few seconds. This is not coincidence. It's design. Modern society wasn't built to make you smarter. It was architected to keep you exactly where you are, too busy to think, too distracted to question, too tired to act. Because a quiet, reflective, questioning mind is dangerous to a system that depends on your consumption, your conformity, and your constant exhaustion. From the moment you wake up and grab your phone before even feeling the sunlight on your face, to the last infinite scroll before sleep, you are being trained, not educated, trained. Trained to respond, not to think. Trained to react, not to reflect. Trained to consume pre-chewed ideas instead of digesting real knowledge. Look at the educational system that shaped us. It was designed during the Industrial Revolution, when factories needed obedient, punctual workers capable of following orders without question. And what has changed since then? We still learn to sit quietly in rows, to memorize information that will be forgotten after the test, to value conformity above creativity. We were taught that there is only one right answer, one right path, one right way to think. Anything outside of that is wrong, is rebellion, is problematic. But here's the question few people ask: who decided what is right? Who designed the curriculum of your life? And more importantly, why were you never taught to think critically about this? Because real critical thinking is subversive. It questions structures, it challenges narratives, it threatens the status quo, and the system needs you to believe you're learning when, in reality, you're just being domesticated. You leave school thinking you're prepared for the world, but what really happened is you were prepared to accept the world as it is, not to transform it. Now add to this the technology we carry in our pockets, that small device that promised to connect us with the entire world. It fulfilled the promise, but at what cost? With each notification, your brain receives a small dose of dopamine. With each like, an external validation you didn't ask for, but now need. With each scroll, a new superficial piece of information that entertains but doesn't enrich. You're being programmed to seek instant gratification, quick rewards, constant stimuli, and in the process, your capacity for deep concentration, for prolonged reading, for complex thinking is being destroyed. Neuroscience has already proven it. Our brains are being literally rewired by the technology we use, and this rewiring isn't making you smarter. It's making you more dependent, more distractible, more manipulable. Social media platforms aren't free because companies are generous. They're free because you are the product. Your time, your attention, your data, your emotions. Everything is being harvested, analyzed, and sold. And while you think you're just having fun, algorithms are learning exactly how to keep you hooked, how to trigger your emotions, how to make you always come back. But here's what really scares. It's not just minutes of your day you're losing. It's your ability to think for yourself. Do you notice how we never have time? Always running, always busy, always with 1,000 things to do. And when we finally have a free moment, what do? We grab our phones, we turn on the TV, we look for some form of entertainment to fill the void. Because silence has become uncomfortable, boredom became the enemy. And thinking deeply about your life, your values, your purpose, that became a luxury no one can afford anymore. But wait, who convinced you that you don't have time? Who sold you this idea that being productive means always being busy? The truth is you have the same number of hours in the day that any great thinker in history had. The difference is they protected those hours as if they were sacred. They created space for reflection, for contemplation, for that kind of deep thinking that only happens when you allow your mind to wander without destination. Modern society stole this from you, not with violence, but with convenience, with notifications that can wait but that you treat as urgent, with commitments that fill every minute of your day, with the belief that stopping is wasting time, when in fact stopping to think is the only thing that can save you from a life wasted in directionless motion. And then there's the constant bombardment of information. News 24 hours a day. Headlines designed to shock, not to inform. Opinions disguised as facts. contradictory experts on every channel, and you in the middle of it all, trying to figure out what is true. But here's the secret. When you're bombarded with too much information, something interesting happens in your brain. You stop processing, stop analyzing, stop questioning. You simply absorb, like a soaked sponge that can't retain anything anymore. And that's exactly what the system wants, because an overloaded mind is a docile mind. It accepts ready-made narratives because it's too tired to build its own. It consumes others' opinions because thinking for yourself requires energy you no longer have. If this idea has already resonated with you, imagine what comes next. Subscribe so you don't miss this journey, because what I'm going to show you now will change the way you see everything. The great irony of our era is that we have access to more knowledge than any previous generation, but less wisdom. Knowledge is information. Wisdom is understanding. And understanding only comes through deep reflection, lived experience, time spent in silent contemplation, things that modern society has systematically destroyed. You know why? Because wisdom sets you free. It makes you question authorities. It shows you that there are other ways to live, other values beyond consumption, other purposes beyond career. And that's dangerous to an economic system that depends on you being an unsatisfied worker who compensates for his unhappiness by consuming things he doesn't need with money. He barely has to impress people he doesn't even know. The ancient philosophers understood something we've forgotten. The unexamined life is not worth living, but examining your life requires time, silence, and courage. Time to stop and reflect. Silence to hear your inner voice above the external noise. And courage to confront uncomfortable truths about who you are and who you've become. Modern society systematically removes these three things from you. It steals your time with infinite obligations. It fills your silence with constant noise. And it punishes your courage by labeling any questioning as problematic, any non-conformity as failure. But there is a way back. And it starts with a simple but revolutionary word. No, no. I'm not going to grab my phone as soon as I wake up. No, I'm not going to fill every moment with distraction. No, I'm not going to accept ready-made narratives without questioning. No, I'm not going to sacrifice my mental peace on the altar of productivity. Each no is an act of rebellion. Each no recovers a piece of your mental sovereignty. Start small. Set aside 10 minutes a day to do nothing. Literally nothing. No phone, no music, nothing. Just you and your thoughts. At first, it will be uncomfortable. Your mind will rebel. It will desperately seek distraction. That's normal. It's the withdrawal symptom of a mind addicted to constant stimuli. But persist, because in those moments of apparent boredom is where the deepest insights emerge. It's where you reconnect with who you really are, beneath all the layers of social conditioning. Read long, dense, challenging books, not summaries, not posts about the book, the entire book. Because the value isn't just in the information contained in it, but in the process of training your mind for deep and prolonged concentration. Seek real conversations with people who think differently from you, not debates to win, but dialogues to understand. Because it's in the friction of different ideas that your own understanding is sharpened. Protect your attention as if your life depended on it, because it does. Your attention is the most valuable asset you possess. It's where your life happens. And if you hand over your attention to algorithms, advertisements, and infinite distractions, you're literally handing over your life. Uninstall apps that don't add value. Silence notifications. Create physical and temporal spaces free of technology. Treat your reflection time as a non-negotiable commitment, as important as any work meeting. More important, actually, because it's where you decide what really matters. And study philosophy, psychology, history, not to accumulate facts, but to develop perspective, to understand that the anxieties you feel aren't unique, that the systems oppressing you aren't new, that thinkers much brighter than you have already navigated these waters and left maps. But there's an even deeper secret that few know, something that can change everything if you truly understand it. The secret is this: the stupidity that modern society promotes isn't accidental. It's strategic. It serves specific interests. A population that thinks deeply doesn't accept unfair wages without questioning, doesn't buy useless products impulsively, doesn't elect leaders based on empty slogans, doesn't remain in relationships or jobs that drain their soul. A population that has developed real wisdom is impossible to control through fear, impossible to manipulate through propaganda. impossible to satisfy with superficial compensations. They've discovered something the system doesn't want you to know. You don't need most of the things they told you that you need. You don't need constant approval from social media. You don't need the latest model of everything. You don't need to work until exhaustion to prove your worth. What you really need is purpose, genuine connections, time for contemplation, space for growth, and all of this is free. It's available to you right now. The only thing preventing you from accessing it is the conditioning that made you believe you're not enough, that you need more, that you should always be doing, buying, proving. When you understand this, truly understand it, something inside you breaks, or rather something inside you breaks free. You see the matrix for the first time, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. So here's the final truth, the revelation that few have the courage to accept. You always had the power to think for yourself. You always had the ability to question, to reflect, to choose consciously. The system didn't take that from you. It just convinced you that you had lost it. It kept you so busy, so distracted, so exhausted that you forgot you had this ability. But it's there, waiting. Each moment of silence is a chance to reconnect with it. Each deep book is an exercise to strengthen it. Each no you say to distractions is a step toward reclaiming it. The question isn't whether you can escape the mass stupidification project. It's whether you will choose to do so, because it requires effort, it requires discipline, it requires you to go against the current, to disappoint people, to renounce easy pleasures in favor of deeper satisfactions. But the alternative is to live a life that feels like it belongs to someone else. A life on autopilot. A life where you wake up one day at 50, 60 years old and realize you never really lived, that you just followed a script that others wrote for you. You have a choice now. You can close this video, go back to the infinite scroll, pretend you didn't hear any of this. And that's okay, most people will choose that, because it's easier, more comfortable, less scary. Or you can make the most important decision of your life. Decide that your mind is yours, that your thoughts are yours, that your life deserves to be lived with intention, not with distraction, that you will protect your ability to think deeply as if it were the most precious treasure you possess. Because it is. If this video stirred something inside you, if you felt a spark of recognition, of awakening, then don't let it die. Like this video so more people can see it. Comment below and tell me, what was the moment that impacted you the most? And subscribe to the channel because this journey is just beginning. Share it with someone you love, someone who needs to hear this, because the most important revolution we can make isn't in the streets, it's in our minds, one free mind at a time, starting with yours, now.